look at a speech delivered by a white slaveholder on the banks of the James River in 1712. 68 years before our former slave masters permitted us to join the Christian faith. Listen to what he said. He said, quote, "In my bag, I have a foolproof method of controlling black slaves. I guarantee every one of you, if installed correctly, it will control the slaves for at least 300 years. My method is simple. Any member of your family or your overseer can use it. I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves, and I take these differences and I make them bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes." I want you to listen. What are those three things? Fear, envy, distrust. For what purpose? Control. To control who? The slave. Who is the slave? Us. Listen. He said, "These methods have worked on my modest plantation in the West Indies, and they will work throughout the South." Now, take this simple little list and think about it. On the top of my list is age, but it's only there because it starts with an A, and the second is color or shade. There's intelligence, sex, size of plantation, status of plantation, attitude of owners, whether the slaves live in the valley or on a hill, north, east, south, or west, have fine hair or coarse hair, or is tall or short. Now that you have a list of differences, I shall give you an outline of action. But before that, I shall assure you that distrust is stronger than trust, and envy is stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration. The black slave, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry it on and will become self-refueling and self-generating for hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years. Now don't forget, you must pitch the old black male against the young black male, and the young black male against the old black male. You must use the female against the male, and you must use the male against the female. You must use the dark-skinned slave against the light-skinned slave, and the light-skinned slave against the dark-skinned slave. You must also have your white servants and overseers distrust all blacks, but it is necessary that your slaves trust and depend on us. They must love, respect, and trust only us. Gentlemen, these keys are your keys to control. Use them. Never miss an opportunity. And if used intensely for 1 year, the slaves themselves will remain perpetually distrustful. Thank you, gentlemen. End of quote. So spoke Willie Lynch 283 years ago. And so as a consequence, we as a people now have been fractured, divided, and destroyed, filled with fear, distrust, and envy. Therefore, because of fear, envy, and distrust of one another, many of us as leaders, teachers, educators, pastors, and persons are still under the control mechanism of our former slave masters and their children. And now, in spite of all that division, in spite of all that divisiveness, we responded to a call. And look at what is present here today. We have here those brothers with means and those who have no means, those who are light and those who are dark, those who are educated, those who are uneducated, those who are business people, those who don't know anything about business, those who are young, those who are old, those who are scientific, those those who know nothing of science, those who are religious and those who are irreligious, those who are Christian, those who are Muslim, those who are Baptist, those who are Methodist, those who are Episcopalian, those of traditional African religion. We got them all here today.
Go ahead, brother.
And why did we come? We came because we want to move perfect union. And if you notice, the press triggered every one of those divisions. You shouldn't come, you're a Christian, that's a Muslim thing. You shouldn't come, you're too intelligent to follow hate. You shouldn't come. Look at what they did. They excluded women, you see. They played all the cards. They pulled all the strings. Oh, but you better look again, Willie. There's a new black man in America today. A new black woman in America today. Now, brothers, there's a social benefit of our gathering here today, and that is that from this day forward, we can never again see ourselves through the narrow eyes of the limitation of the boundaries of our own fraternal, civic, political, religious, street organization, or professional organization. We are forced by the magnitude of what we see here today, that whenever you return to your cities and you see a black man, a black woman, don't ask him what is your social, political, or religious affiliation, or what is your status. Know that he is your brother, and if he needs help, you are obligated to help your brother because he is your brother. You must live beyond the narrow restrictions of the divisions that have been imposed upon us. Well, some of us are here because it's history making. Some of us are here because it's a march through which we can express anger and rage with America for what she has and is doing to us. So we're here for many reasons, but the basic reason that this was called was for atonement and reconciliation. So it is necessary for me, in as short a time as possible, to give as full an explanation of atonement as possible. As I said earlier, atonement is the 5th stage in an 8-stage process. So let's go back.
Greetings, beloved listeners. I begin in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. I bear witness that there is but one God. Welcome to the Black Agenda here on the Street 919 FM. I am Brother David Muhammad, and I'm going to be in studio with you up to 9 o'clock this morning, inshallah. And in a short while from now, I will open up the telephone lines and take your calls on 342-0081 and 466-5391. You can also send text messages and WhatsApp messages directly to me on 332-0214. I remember getting that mixed up last week. Don't know why, don't know how. Maybe it's age. And of course, we're also live on the Facebook page of the Street 919 FM. And of course, I'm sure you'd have heard that grand announcement yesterday that Facebook are about to change their brand. It's not 100% certain as yet whether Facebook themselves will be changing their name, but the parent company will be called Meta. And they are consolidating these apps: Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, I think YouTube as well. into what is being called the meta universe, and that it will be a new virtual experience. So from what the head Mark Zuckerberg tried to explain, at least on the news clip that I saw, he said, it won't just be like sending a picture to someone or uploading a video or chatting on the screen or messaging someone. It will be as if you're there with them in person. That's what he said. And this is to come into play not too far away from now. I think it's January or sometime early next year or later this year. Quite a step, it sounds like. So we'll see what happens with that. And so for now, no matter but Facebook. We're live on the Facebook page of the Street 919 FM. So beloved, another week in Trinidad and Tobago, in the Caribbean, in the Western Hemisphere, on this planet, as the world continues to become a global village. Today, beloved, Saturday, October the 30th, we have finally come to the day of African Expo number 9. We made it to number 9. So today at the Kwame Ture Center in Success Laventille, throughout the day we will be hosting the African Expo, and of course, as always, it will be a fantastic day. There's food, different kinds of food. There's African clothing. There's art. Of course, there's literature, books. There's technology, cell phones and accessories. There are other displays. We started off, I think it would have been, we started off exactly 2 years ago with the African Expos. Black History Month 2019 would have been the first one. So just about a year and 11 months ago. We started off with 15 vendors. 15, 1-5. And now we're up to 50. We started off using about 3/4 of our auditorium. And now we're using the entire car parking space with tents outside the building. Of course, all protocols being practiced, hand sanitizing, mask wearing, social distancing, contact tracing, etc. But it's really emerged in a very beautiful way, and what is even more beautiful is the way that so many of the young people have gotten involved. And the vision is for these young people to eventually take over, preparing our youth for leadership. I emphasize it to my colleagues in the teaching profession, in the public schools. At the Kwame Ture Center, we teach the youth maths. We teach them English and literature. We teach accounts, principles of business. We teach social studies. We teach human and social biology. But we must teach them that element of African consciousness delivered simultaneously with the educational curriculum, because for too long we continue to see education as an addendum to the colonial experience. Meaning that if we send our African children out to learn principles of business, it's like the default mindset is, okay, I'm learning principles of business so that I can go and work in someone else's business. I'm learning principles of accounts so that I can go and work for someone and balance their accounts. We're learning maths and English so that we can put ourselves on the job market and get employment from someone else. Fine. All well and good that we can secure a future with gainful employment. But that should not, cannot, and will not be the only option for the education of our black children. They must be instilled also with the principles of entrepreneurship. They must be educated to embrace ideas of ownership, control, development, expansion, networking, and becoming successful. Our African children must be educated with the basic content of the syllabus and the curriculum, but also they must be taught that they can achieve and accomplish whatever they put their minds to, just like anyone else in Trinidad and Tobago. We have to break the mental chain of believing that in this country in which we live, some ethnic groups are destined to be in control and in power, controlling those who we think are in power. We must break this mental curse that we will always be working for someone else. We will always be asking other ethnic groups for employment. We will always be at the foot or the base of the economic ladder while we not only watch others go up it, but we help others go up it while we stay down at the bottom of it. And we sacrifice all of this achievement, and I'm talking about among the poor. Many within the poor African community are encouraged to sacrifice all of this ambition of doing for self, opening your own businesses, forming your own companies, networking with each other, supporting one another. We sacrifice all of that in exchange for just going out and voting. And vote again, and vote some more. And that's all they want us to do. Vote and vote and vote our lives away. While we never instill within those same black children that they can elevate themselves to occupy the pinnacle of success in whatever field of human endeavor that they wish to be a part of. So education for African people must entail that component of consciousness. It must. Part of it is black history. Part of it. You know, and even though we embrace November in Trinidad and Tobago as African History Month, which starts on Monday, and once again for the fourth time straight, we're having a full month of activities at the Kwame Ture Center. But even though we call it African History Month or Black History Month, it's not just history. Yes, history is essential. History is like a mirror that we can look into to see our capabilities of the past, and that could give us an indication of what we're able to achieve in the present and continue to expand on that in the future. Dr. John Henry Clark has said history is like a clock to measure the pace of human achievements, to give us some kind of idea of our success rates and success ratios and what they should be today. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, of all of our studies, history is best qualified to reward the researcher, to give him that inspiration. So yes, it's Black History Month in November, but it's more than just history. It's Black Studies, which is ideology, philosophy, Black economics, Black sociology, Black psychology, Black progressive politics, religion, and African history. There are so many different sources of inspiration. Now, there are a couple things that I wanted, you know, the Saturday mornings go. Couple of things I want to talk about. Just one thing I want to make clear, which I might do, I guess, in the 8 o'clock hour. All right. But today, all roads lead to the Kwame Ture Education Center for African Expo number 9. Come out and support. We must unite and build a Black economy. I just want to make one last point before I open up the lines. So we're putting up the lines now, 342-0081 and 466-5391. I want to make a quick point, which has been on my mind, about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Two quick things. First one, on Malcolm X. And I want you to think deeply about this. Now, Malcolm X, before he joined the Nation of Islam, was your regular criminal on the street. He was involved in drugs, drug pushing, robberies, prostitution, pimping, violent crimes, a whole range of violent crimes. Now, listen carefully. When Malcolm X was a hustler on the street, he had a nickname. His nickname was Detroit Red. But when he went into prison, he got another nickname. Now think about this. When Malcolm X went into prison, he was among murderers, rapists, kidnappers, thieves, criminals, persons who have committed a range of heinous crimes. And they in prison gave Malcolm X another nickname. And the nickname that they gave Malcolm X when he was in prison was Satan. I want you to think deeply about what I'm saying here. When Malcolm X was a hustler on the street, doing his crimes, his nickname was Detroit Red. But when he went into prison, among those who would be considered the worst in society, they gave him the nickname Satan. Now, how bad do you have to be among people whom society considers to be Satan, and they are seeing you as so bad that they are calling you Satan? Because Malcolm X was not only bad, he was the worst of the worst. He wasn't your ordinary individual out there who might be referred to, oh, he's a bad one. That's one to stay away from. Oh, he's trouble. No, he wasn't like that on the average level. He was the worst among us. And one in that state, on hearing the teachings of Islam as taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he went from being the worst of the worst to the best among the best. And that same individual, Detroit Red on the street, criminal, kidnapper, robber, doing all that, and then going into prison. They said, when they used to say they saw the devil in Malcolm X's eyes. Then he embraces Islam, hears about Elijah Muhammad, starts studying him. And then he's reformed. Then he comes out in 1952, and then the Honorable Elijah Muhammad sits him down with him. At that time, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was an ultimately successful black man who had literally an economic empire. And he takes this young man out to jail, sits down with him, teaches him, and then sends him out there. Go to New York. Go to Detroit. Go to Baltimore. Go to Los Angeles. Go to Atlanta. Go to Miami. Go to Chicago. And then Malcolm X is going out now teaching the people. This is why I will never give up hope on our youth, no matter what. And this is why I encourage us not to give up hope on our youth, no matter what. That's one point about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Malcolm X's life bore testimony to the greatness of the man, just like Muhammad Ali's life bore testimony, just like Minister Louis Farrakhan's life bore testimony to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But the other thought that came into my mind yesterday after this same announcement by Mark Zuckerberg, think of this economic empire that Mark Zuckerberg, owner of Facebook, has built. Now think of how many qualified people he would have to have in order to operate that. And Mark Zuckerberg, I don't know how many people he employs, but I imagine it will be somewhere around maybe 3,000-4,000. But Mark Zuckerberg, in order to operate that successful enterprise with Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, he would have to get a whole lot of persons with university degrees, with diplomas, with business certificates, with masters, with PhDs, hundreds upon thousands of persons with top qualifications he would have to get to operate that. Now, think. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad created a black economic empire through the 1940s, 1950s, 1960s, 1970s. He established a number of farms, black people growing their own food. The Nation of Islam in the early 1970s was the largest importers of frozen fish into the United States of America. The Nation of Islam established multiple restaurants, bakeries, and supermarkets. And the food on the shelves in the supermarkets, a lot of it was produced and manufactured by the members, black Muslims. Nation of Islam established schools, clinics, hospitals, then clothing stores, apartment complexes, mosques, over 200 all across the United States. Now, here why I'm making this comparison. Because Mark Zuckerberg, and obviously it's two completely different kinds of enterprises, but Mark Zuckerberg would have had to get the most qualified of persons in their field to make Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube the mega success that they are. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad had a third grade education. It's like someone dropping out of school in standard 3 and creating an economic empire with farms, thousands of acres of farmland across the United States, in Illinois, in Michigan, in the South, in Atlanta, in Alabama. Thousands of acres of farmland, hundreds of restaurants, bakeries, supermarkets, clothing stores, hospitals, clinics. But hear my point. In order to achieve something like that, you need to have a lot of people with expertise. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did all of that, not with the most highly qualified, but with the worst of us. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad established hundreds, several hundreds, into the thousands of successful business enterprises, organizations, institutions, food, clothing, shelter, transportation companies, 3 planes, sending his representatives to go and have meetings with heads of government in foreign countries to discuss trade with the black community. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was able to achieve that with drug addicts, ex-convicts, vagrants, homeless people, alcoholics, former criminals, gang members, persons who dropped out of school, persons who had no direction in life, just like how Malcolm X was. All they did was learn the religion of Islam as taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And they went from death into life, mentally and spiritually. This is why I will never give up the struggle. I'll never lose hope in our youth, because I've seen it. I know what can be accomplished with the power of the message in that book called the Quran. And this mission of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was very different to that of Dr. Martin Luther King, whom we love, whom we admire, and whom we respect. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told black people, beware of the politicians. He never said, don't vote, we're not going to vote. But he never voted. He said, beware of these politicians who are representing a system that represents the destruction of our people. There's no hope nor salvation for us in that. We must unite and build a black economy through our networking, through our unity. And we can take our people, beloved, straight out to the prison, straight off the block, or straight out to the bar, not the legal bar, the alcohol bar. And you know, I've been wanting to say this for the longest while, beloved. I'm going to open up the phones and just give me a couple of minutes. But this thought, because thoughts are just rushing through my head. But I've wanted to say this for the longest while. There's a bar on the Eastern Main Road within the vicinity of Tagarigua. And if I ever, which I doubt I ever will, meet the owner of that bar, I have to shake his hand for his creativity in naming his bar. This bar is on the left-hand side on the Eastern Main Road within the vicinity of Tagarigua after you pass the second gas station heading east. It's around there on the left-hand side. Can't tell exactly where. I think it's there. Yeah. Somewhere around, or is it San Juan? We have so much bars in this country. Anyway, if I ever meet the owner of that bar, all things considered, of course, I'm 100% against the sale of alcohol and all of that, yeah. But I have to shake his hand for the genius and creativity in naming the bar. The name of this bar is Poor Decisions. And when I first saw that, I was like, wow! He nailed it. Poor Decisions. But the sharpness in it is how he spelled poor. He spelled it P-O-U-R instead of P-O-O-R. And every time I drive past there, I just think to myself, wow, this man is admitting that patronizing that kind of business is a poor decision. But he's saying it's a P-O-U-R decision, as in you're making a decision to pour something out of the bottle. But in truth and in fact, it's a P-O-O-R decision. Poor decisions. And every time I drive past there and read that sign, I just shake my head and say, there you go. So, African Expo number 9, today at Kwame Ture Center, throughout the day. Of course, we're going to try to finish up by 6 o'clock. Sometimes they go up to all after 8 o'clock, people leaving minutes to 9. No, not with this curfew. All right, so let me open up the telephone lines. I still want to say something about the coup. One simple point, which I'll say right after the 8 o'clock hour. One quick and simple point about the July 27th, 1990 coup. All right, so 342-0081 and 466-5391. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, David Mohammed.
Yes, good morning to you. Thanks.
Good morning to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, the African people, and all people around the world, the Caribbean. Blessing unto them from the Most High. I want to say something this morning about that topic. Yes, African people need to pour the money together because, you see, when you watch around, I just do a lot of driving and all that, and when I watch around, I notice there is a lot of money in this thing they call fast food. You see everybody when 12 o'clock reach with a white box in their hand. That's right. You understand? You know, back then in the 70s and thing, African people will cook the food home when they're working and work with the food, but I just don't know if life gets faster or I don't know. I think it's the same job they are doing, the same amount of hours they work in 8 hours a day. In SMDs, 8 hours a day, 2021. So I can't understand why it is they wouldn't want to prepare their own lunch. Maybe it's faster to buy something, but that is less money in your pocket because 365 days in a year. And if you have to buy breakfast before or it's your only way to work, and then you have to buy lunch and you check how much money that is. And if you check it up within your lifetime of working, let me say you resign at the age of 6 years because you're doing a government work, right? And you work for let me say 25 years or 30 years and you check up that money. You understand? You see that is a whole lump sum of money by itself. Anyhow, people doesn't think that way. They doesn't see like spending $40 a day for lunch. They see it as just $40, but add it up for 10 years or 15 or 20 years and see how much money that is. And by the time you resign the job you're doing, you realize that it's about $200,000 or $50,000 I spend just doing that, So African people have to put the money together and the only how that we can go forward. And you're right, politician does not help us. Because I'm telling you this, for this whole entire, what you call, this month here for black people. I never heard the Prime Minister mention anything about, let me say, in any way that, what African people need, what African people really need in this country is land. And I guess that a business like what is going on, like what you all being successful with, African people being successful in success level until there. I mean to say, there was something the government could have done. You understand? If it's to give a piece of land or something like that, you understand? They never have money, so I've been saying money, you understand? But they can give a piece of land to what's this, But African people, again, have a lot of spending power. And that spending power, if they really think very carefully how they're spending the money and put the money together, you understand?
That's right.
There is a lot of things they can do for themselves. You understand? Because let me tell you something, people, I'm talking about the Syrians, the Indians, the Chinese, they are really seriously depend on African people buying from them, You understand? I just drive around in Arima there, you understand? And like gyros and all of them, they open and it have other races buying as well. But the people who have the biggest spending power here is African people because we don't have business. We buy. You understand? We buy, we spend our money, we like we just don't. Let me tell you something. I have a briefcase, right? I have mentioned this already. And every time I buy something, I might get 50 cents, I might get 11 cents, or some coins, or 5 cents, or cents. I just keep throwing it inside it. In a matter of 15 years, I have a whole briefcase of 25 cents, 5 cents, and 10 cents. A briefcase I'm talking about, full. So think about this, African people. If you all could just pool, a simple thing is $20. I think this was some years ago. I don't know what happened. I think you was part of it on the. So I can't remember the name of the person right now, but it was some kind of African credit union or something. So I can't remember the full name.
Yeah,
I don't know
it's still in existence.
It's still in existence. Okay.
A corner of
that is good.
It's at Stone Street in Port of Spain.
Right.
Yeah.
You understand? And African people pull the money together. You understand? We can do wonders.
Yeah.
You understand? We can buy up land. We can build buildings. We can open our own university and all that.
That's the idea, brother. Well, thank you so much. Caller, good morning. Thanks for holding.
A pleasant morning to you, dear doctor and brother.
Good morning to you.
Dr. Mohammed, I've been hearing narrative, but not from you. And what I expect at this time, less talk and more action. I'll tell you what. For the longest while, we have all and sundry by black business My opinion, less talk and more action. I'll tell you what. We are about to celebrate another holiday from one of the other ethnic groups. And yesterday I visit one of the groceries from, let's be honest, from one of the Indians in Trinidad. And you know, as you walk in, it's not about race, but we need to face the facts. And as you walk in, you got the ambience of that Indian music, which Diwali coming.
Okay, the countdown is on. Okay, brother.
You would want me to call back, or let me develop the point quickly?
Well, there's a minute and 24 seconds. But what I'll say to you is, at this point, you can call back. But let me say this to you directly.
But let me see if I shoot 2 cents.
No. But let me just say this to you real quick, because I hear you from time to time. You know,
oh my God,
you're pushing this more talk, no more action, less talk, etc. I just hope that the same way you went into the Indian supermarket yesterday, that you will, in the same way and with the same spirit, support efforts such as our African Expo today. I hope you will support. Well, 1 second, I'm talking. I hope you can support our African farmers who have produce at the Kwame Ture Center every single Friday. I hope you can support those young black business entrepreneurs. Excuse me. All right. So I just hope with the same spirit that you can support black business instead of trying to provoke this subtle, mischievous criticism for whatever purpose. So, you know what's happening today? It's not going to be about talk, it's going to be about action. African Expo.
The views expressed are not necessarily the views of the management of the Street 919 FM.
Baila! Sandra! Christmas morning! Baila, baila, baila! Aia, aia! Sandra! Sugar! Christmas morning, Sandra over by me parange. She says she want wine on Christmas time. Hey, Christmas morning, Sandra over by me parange. She says she want wine on Christmas time. Hey, I have sorry, she don't want that. I have rum, she don't want that. I have turkey, she don't want that. I have ham, she don't want that. I have pasta, she don't want none. She don't want that. She say, give me the wine, Christmas time. Give me the wine, so I give she the wine. I give she the wine. Then I give she the factory. The old wine company. Sandra, she want wine, 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 wine. Wine on the Christmas time, 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 time. The girl, she want wine, 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 wine. Wine on the Christmas time, 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 time. Baila! Iwer! Christmas! Sandra! Sugar! Boxing morning, Sandra come back by me parangin, and she bring a friend, so it's me and both of them. Hey, boxing morning, Sandra over by me parangin, and she bring a friend, so it's both of them. Hey, I have Johnny, she don't want that. I have Henny, she don't want that. I have Duck, she don't want that. I have Pork, she don't want that. I have Wiley, she don't want that. The whole fleet, she don't want that. She said, give me the wine, Christmas time. Give me the wine, so I give them the wine. I give them the wine. Man, I give them the factory. The old wine company.
Caribbean woman. Hey, I have apple, she don't want that. I have grapes, she don't want that. I have banana, she don't want that. I have pear, she don't want that. I have rose fruit, she don't want that. I have it all whole, she don't want that. She said, give me the wine, Christmas time. Give me the wine, so I give she the wine. Hey, I give she the wine. Hey, man, I give she the factory. The old wine company. Them girls that want wine, 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 wine. Wine on the Christmas time, 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 time. Sandra, she want wine, 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 wine. Wine on the Christmas time, 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 time. Give me Sandra, give me the Sandra. Hot like fire. Give me the wine, give me Sandra. Hot like fire. She's the whiner. She's the whiner. Sandra. Sugar. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Sandra. Sugar.
Looking for a safe and relaxed professional massage therapist and nutritionist? Look no further. Nature's Touch with Empress Judy and Associates offers a natural approach to better health. Treat yourself to a professional massage therapy and nutrition advice in a safe and relaxed atmosphere. Rejuvenate your body, mind, and soul at Nature's Touch Therapy. For an appointment, please call or WhatsApp 1-868-398-8282 or visit our Facebook page. Remember, your health is our responsibility at Nature's Touch.
After all the talk during the week, don't switch off on the weekend and keep it on the street. It's classic soca and classic kaiso when you're liming with the live wire on Saturdays from 5 to 7 p.m. only on the street 919 FM.
Welcome the Christmas holidays this year with quality and attractive furniture from Stylus Furniture Limited. 2 locations, 51 Rushwood Street, San Fernando and 101 Crackness Village in Princestown. Select from a wide range of contemporary furniture to enhance your homes. Now open on Sundays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Call today, 652-2542. Season's greetings to all our customers and friends from Stylus Furniture Limited. Stylus Furniture Limited. For the style in you.
Better vision for your physical eyes, and through the eyes of faith, let healing arise in your mind, body, and spirit. At Natural Heal Ministries, we teach kingdom principles for living that brings the blessing of God to your mind, body, and soul.
NHM Professional Associates are located at number 10 Moody Stewart Street, Monterey Post, San Fernando. For more info, contact Dr. Desmond Phillip at NHM on 349-3494.
NHM Professional Associates can be heard live on the street 919 FM every Saturday from 9:05 to 9:55 a.m.
Blessings in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. You are invited to listen to the Final Hour broadcast heard every Monday from 12 midnight to 5 a.m. in the morning on the Street 919 FM radio. Here my mom, Pastor Helen Garcia, and myself, Pastor Valentine Garcia Jr., preach the Word of God to the elderly, youth, and children. We can be contacted at 629-0113 or 623-8444. The church is located at 26 Prince Street in Port of Spain. We look forward to you joining us. God bless you.
As my life I lay it on the altar, as my life.
Clarity. It's what we want for our vision. Whether we're working in the office, during our nighttime commute, or watching our TV. Reduce reflections and glare with Supernova anti-reflective coatings by Value Optical. The advanced technology in your new eyeglasses will reduce eye strain, help the world see you better, and enhance the way you see the world. Value Optical. Expert care for your eyes.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
Demanded. Brotherhood is obligatory.
Black man get up, black man stand up, black man you better listen.
So there's a need for brotherhood.
Black man get up, black man stand up, black man you better listen. Black man get up, black man stand up, black man you better listen.
Brotherhood is demanded.
Black man get up, black man stand up, black man you better listen.
Brotherhood is required. Brotherhood is demanded. Brotherhood is obligatory. Brotherhood is essential, it is urgent, and it is compulsory. But the time demands brotherhood. Whenever the dominant white society fears for its economic future, racial tensions are always aggravated. The aim of Almighty God is to bring the black man and woman together. The aim of Almighty God is that we, no matter how divided we have been in the past, must experience unity in order to gain the success that we seek and the progress that we desire. There is no way that a divided people can build a future. Brotherhood is required. Brotherhood is demanded. So there's a need for brotherhood. But if you walk the earth proud and arrogant, you never learn your lesson because you think you already know. And how in the hell could you know and be in the shape that we're in? How can there be any brotherhood if there's not even the honoring of a word?
Black man get up, black man stand up, black man you better listen. man stand up, black man you better listen. Black man get up, black man stand up, black man you better listen.
But the Quran and the Bible bear witness that the heavens and the earth were created.
Welcome back and welcome to the second hour of the Black Agenda here on the Street 919 FM. I am Brother David Muhammad. We're going up to 9 o'clock. In a short while from now, we will continue to take your calls. I have to ask you, when you're calling via WhatsApp, just hold up on that for a moment, please, because the ringtone actually comes through the main switchboard and there's nothing that we can do to mute that. Okay, so please be mindful if you're calling via WhatsApp to just hold up on that until we announce the reopening of the lines again, because the ringing actually comes through the mixer, and once the system is on, there's nothing we can do to mute that. All right, so today, beloved family, is African Expo number 9 at the Kwame Ture Center. Well, we're there all now. We're there overnight, last night. So much preparations for our people. All right, so we kick off at about 10 o'clock this morning, and we are ending at, inshallah, 6 o'clock sharp. We have to. Okay? So, all roads lead down there. Today, let us support black business. Let us genuinely and sincerely do what we can for the liberation process of our people. All right, there's a whole lot of bad intentions surrounding a good cause. There's always that mischief, that intent to subtly try to insinuate negativity, but we have to be stronger than that, and our unity is our strength. Now, beloved, all right, so I'm about to open back up the lines, but before I do that, I want to make a quick point about the 1990 coup. Oh, come on. A very quick point. We'll announce the reopening of the lines in a short while. Very quick point on the coup and the misinformation. And the misinformation is repeated by almost all of us. And it's repeated in the mere name of the event that took place. We have been programmed in this country to mistakenly refer to the July 27th, 1990 Muslimin coup led by Imam Yassin Abu Bakr. We have mistakenly been referring to it as the attempted coup. It was not an attempted coup. It was a successful coup. And the leaders of it, after conditions were met and the amnesty was received, handed power back over to the state. The coup was not an attempt. The government and its senior officials became inoperable and incapacitated. At that moment, when the government was unable to operate, function, make decisions, conduct or host a debate or a vote within the parliament, for the time that happened, the coup was successful. According to our Trinidad and Tobago Constitution, there are three branches of government: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. The executive is the authoritative arm of government, which consists of the cabinet. The cabinet is only functional if there are two clearly, specifically identified roles that are filled and a number of ambiguous other roles that are also filled. The two mandatory roles for a government to exist as an executive under our constitution are: one, a prime minister, and two, an attorney general. Then there may be any other arrangement of other government ministers, but we do not have a cabinet unless we have: one, a prime minister, and two, an attorney general. For the July 27, 1990 coup, both the Prime Minister, A.N.R. Robinson, and the Attorney General, Selwyn Richardson, as well as many of the other government cabinet ministers, were tied up, some gagged and bound, taken hostage. The government had collapsed. It was inoperable. It was incapacitated. They were unable to function. Therefore, at that moment, the coup became successful. But you see, this was followed by a whole lot of propaganda to try to convince the public back then and even into the future that somehow the military was in control, which is another major myth. So on my Gaia television program, we showed all of these clips from the newspapers back then of images of some of the government members who were outside of the Red House posing for photographs with army officials. Congratulations for a good job. Talking to the army. How the war was won. With photographs of army members. Pure propaganda. The army did not win. And it got to the point where it was as if it was the army against both the Muslims and the politicians who were hostages in the Red House. Because everything was resolved within 24 hours. But somehow they spent 6 whole days in there because the army did not want them to come out of the Red House. Now let's look at this quickly. An amnesty was negotiated between the Jamaat al-Muslimin and the Prime Minister and the Attorney General. It was agreed to, and it was signed by Acting President Joseph Emmanuel Carter on July 28, 1990, which is the day after the coup. Acting President Joseph Emmanuel Carter was not a hostage. He was neither in the Red House nor at Television House. He was free on his own under the protection of his military security. He was not under duress. And after consideration of all of the facts, he put his signature as the President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago to pardon the members of the Jamaat al-Muslimin. He signed and as acting president promised that there will be no state prosecution against the insurrectionists for the event. Within the provisions of the amnesty, again, y'all are the ones who talk about upholding democracy and defending the Constitution and upholding the law. This is the Constitution. He was the head of state. And he signed to the effect that within the provisions of the amnesty, it stated that the amnesty was granted to, quote, all those involved in acts of insurrection commencing approximately 5:30 p.m. on Friday, 27th July 1990, and ending upon the safe return of all members of parliament held captive on July 27th, 1990. Agreements in the document were drawn up by Member of Parliament Joseph Tony, who had also drafted the resignation letters which Prime Minister A.N.R. Robinson and all other parliamentarians had agreed to sign and had signed. Now, it was one of those government ministers. Think about this here now. It was one of those government ministers of the NAR, while as a hostage, suggested to the leadership of the Jamaat al-Muslimin. Basically, right now, it's us versus them. This is the position of the government members. Because they were cursing, I'm talking about the military, the police and the soldiers, they were cursing the Prime Minister. And all of those parliamentarians were witnesses. You can catch them today and ask them about it. And it got to a point, according to numerous reports from the inside, that the hostages, the members of government, and the Muslims together began to perceive the situation as the military being against them. It was one of the government members that suggested to the leadership of the Jamaat al-Muslimin that this amnesty that is being signed by the president, the acting president, Joseph Emmanuel Carter, that it should be duplicated. Canon Nolly Clark, Anglican priest, and also Mervyn Telfer were key negotiators involved in the transportation of the amnesty document. And 6 days later, when they came out, they held some of the Muslims and severely beat, strip searched, and literally tortured them to get that amnesty. But it was copied, and it was one of the members of government that assisted in getting the amnesty out, which of course the state did not honor. But what I want you to think about is the fact that the coup took place on July 27th, 1990. Within 24 hours, it was already agreed. We have the statement from A.N.R. Robinson about the amnesty and about the negotiations that took place. And it was already confirmed that this is over, the objectives have been achieved, and it's time to move on from that. But the military did not let them out. They were like mad, hungry dogs starving for meat, trigger happy, just shooting up the building. And even though the Prime Minister was asking them to stop, they continued. And then they immortalized the statement where A.N.R. Robinson at first said, attack with full force. And they used that statement as representative of the tone for the entire 6 days when they resolved it in 1 day. And now we have all of this misinformation and propaganda. So A.N.R. Robinson said in the interview with Kana, the Caribbean news agency, and the BBC, quote, after very lengthy negotiations with the Jamaat al-Muslimin, an agreement has been reached and we are due to evacuate the Red House as soon as conditions are laid in the country. And the amnesty came in. This was July 28th. But they didn't come out till August. It was August the 2nd or 3rd. Selwyn Richardson, Attorney General, said, quote, after very statesmanlike negotiations with Mr. A.N.R. Robinson and Mr. Bilal Abdullah, the heads of agreement were reached. July 28th. But yet still, they stayed in there for 6 more days. Professor Selwyn Ryan writes in his book, Muslimin Grab for Power, on page 145, quote, following the ending of the crisis, attempts were made to deny that the police cursed and abused Prime Minister A.N.R. Robinson and threatened to kill him if he ventured outside the parliament. They did not want it to end in peace, with an amnesty, with an agreement. They threatened to kill the Prime Minister if he came outside. What kind of insanity is that? Meanwhile, the National Security Services were busy. Busy doing what? Fighting for democracy and upholding the Constitution? No, they were busy shooting, injuring, and killing poor black people who were taking items out of white people's businesses. Shooting poor black people for taking cheese and bread and milk and flour and sugar, looting out of the supermarkets. That is what our protective services were busy doing, protecting the property of the white people. And that looting that took place, oh, beloved, that's a whole other story by itself. Because I'll tell you this, regarding the looting, just want to get one or two statements here, right? So, there was a group called the Movement for Social Transformation. In a statement that they released, they said, quote, "The massive looting that took place in Port of Spain and along the East-West Corridor is primarily a reflection of the deep poverty and tremendous hardships experienced by the people." They went on to say that these events have been described as IMF riots because they occur when the people have been driven to desperation by IMF and World Bank policies. Dr. Jeffrey Frankson said, quote, "It was not the masses." Listen carefully. Dr. Jeffrey Frankson said, "It was not the masses, but the businessmen who started the looting." Dr. Frankson felt it was only a minority of the urban and black population which had gone on a looting rampage, and that the looters were economically hurt by the policies of the government. Senator Diana Mahabir Wyatt, white lady in Trinidad, said, quote, "As soon as the official looting began, every man jack there joined in. And for once, there was no racial divisions." She says, quote, "They are all thieves. The whites looting at Glencoe and St. Anne's, and the blacks and Indians looting in Port of Spain." Those were her words. But did they go after the whites in St. Anne's and Glencoe or any of the Indians? The military went exclusively into East Port of Spain, Beetham, Sealots, parts of Laventille, with big trucks, kicked down your doors, went into your homes. And if they saw new household appliances or furniture sets and you didn't have a receipt, they took it back from you, put it in their truck. That is how the Constitution is defended. That is how the state upholds democracy. And to this day, beloved, to this day, what's today's date? October 30th, 2021. All these 30 plus years later, the question still remains as to who set fire to all of those buildings in downtown Port of Spain. That full block on Queen Street. Who owns all those buildings? Who set fire? The Muslims were in TTT and the Red House. who burnt down all of those buildings, got hundreds of millions of dollars in insurance money, and then built back some of the most elaborate buildings in Port of Spain to this date. You drive across that stretch, Queen Street, and look at some of those buildings. Take a walk across Queen Street from about Charlotte Street, cross to Henry Street, cross to Frederick Street, cross to Chacon Street, cross to Abercrombie. Take a look at some of those buildings. And, I mean, there is a website that has some of the older images of Port of Spain. And mysteriously, all of these buildings burnt down simultaneously. Hundreds of millions of dollars in insurance money collected. And then all of these new, brand new fancy buildings go up. How come there was never any investigation on that? So, but the Gael television program that I did last week, it has all of the images on the PowerPoint presentation, is on my Facebook page. I just go to my Facebook page, David Muhammad, the David Muhammad page, and I did a PowerPoint presentation. You can see the newspaper articles, the propaganda that they push about how the army won the war and job well done and all of that. An attempted coup. It was not an attempted coup. All right, so opening up the phone lines straight to the end of the program. 342-0081 and 466-5391. Caller, good morning.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
I knew from the time you went there, I knew that is what he was going to say, you know. That you keep saying it was attempted. It wasn't
attempted. It wasn't attempted. They didn't stop them on their way up the stairs into the Red House, or they caught them by the gate before they got it. Yeah. The Prime Minister, the Attorney General, and the government members were held hostage. They were inoperable and incapacitated.
They were overthrown at that point in time there. And you know, another thing is, a lot of buildings in Port of Spain they were speaking about, they were plastered with concrete in front, but the center of it was mud, you know, dirt, you know. So some of those buildings, you know, and then apart from the insurance, government, Mr. Manning, give millions of dollars back to the businessmen in Port of Spain. Millions of dollars they received there. Anyway, Brother David, what I want to say is this. I heard something about in Jamaica with this guy who have, what do you call him again?
Holness?
When they kill, you understand, when he was attempted suicide with his membership, some church.
Oh, right.
And when I heard that, the police stepped in and arrested him, and when I heard that, you know what I said?
Jim Jones. Jim Jones.
In Jamaica, talking about...
Yeah, I know, but it brings back memories of Jim Jones.
Jim Jones and Clarice
in Guyana, yeah.
And Texas also. When I heard that, I say, you know what's going to happen? In Trinidad here, we're going to hear that as an issue on the radio. And so tell it to us, do you know why? Because he's black. You understand? But in Canada, they found 1,200 unmarked graves with indigenous children that was murdered and killed by the state and the church. No station said anything about it. Right now in France, 3,000 priests, over 300 something thousand children that were molested by the priests, the clerks, everybody, you understand, involved. We are no issue on the radio here about that. But I say, you see that? They know how to get to us. Our people know how to deal, you understand, with us. They leave everybody aside. One thing a black, and one thing black, they're going to come with you, and that is what the media, and that is what they know how we deal and act with one another. But David, you said something there yourself. Yesterday, Saturday was coming through Port of Spain, coming down Henry Street. We didn't talk about business.
Yeah.
Coming down Charlotte Street. And, you know, they put out the stuff to sell early in the morning. And I saw this young African girl put out her stuff and things. So, you know, traffic moves slowly. So I say, well, I wish you good luck for the day and everything. She smiled and she got a chat and things. And I continue driving, going on. And I'll tell you something. When you're conscious, things will happen. But I said to myself, somebody was with me in the car, so wait now, you know, I talk to this regular, she put out stuff, and I ain't give her a sale. That rest of my conscience going on, you know what I did, Brother David? I swing right to the wrong queen. Come back down, I'm shouting. I said, girl, I should have given you a sale. You understand? And I bought something, the guy bought something. And she said, that is positive vibration energy. That little girl told me, you know, I bought it from her. Right on the corner of Charlotte Street and Queen Street there, Brother David. I went in there to buy something. I look at it and get anywhere. When I went there, I saw a guy going to attend to somebody. And I said, they have sold. He said no. And I watched him. I said, wait now. I didn't see no Chinese, I didn't see no Indian, I didn't see no Caucasian. I said, this is a black business. You know, the element of surprise. You can see it in the guy's face. He said, yes, it's a black business. You know what? You're not expecting somebody to ask you that. It is a black business, you understand? And I said, okay, so I know that corner there has a black business. And once I just stay conscious for it, that just keeps that positive vibration. The place you speak about, I don't think it's very well. With the poor.
It's in San Juan, is it?
It could be, but even Tarigua, I see it in Tarigua.
Yeah, I've seen this. I see the sign all the time. I think it's either Tagarigua or San Juan.
Because when you speak about it after the gas station,
yeah,
the gas station and I know those places, they have a market place and they have those, the school and these places. I feel the sound. I would look for it in sound there. You understand?
No, but I think it is Tagarigua thinking of it because based on yeah.
I will find it.
Well, you don't have to.
No, I will find it. Once doctor will find it.
Yeah.
Not with that black will find it.
Yeah. All right.
See what happened?
Uh-huh.
I saw that they give back to Nigeria. And I took some pictures of it there. The Benin broad. They give it back to them, you know. They had a ceremony in England. Give it back to them 2 days ago. Big ceremony. It was on Al Jazeera. You understand? Where they give back this to them, and they say they have thousands, you understand, of African artifacts in England, and they're looking for it. Canada also have it also, Brother David.
Yeah.
You know, kind of France have it also, Brother David.
Yeah.
So you see, I mean, no business. And you're speaking about business. We have to understand that we have to support our business.
Exactly. Let's genuinely stop trying to tear it down and cut it up and it's sickening among us. But thanks a lot there, brother. Thank you so much. Caller, good morning.
Good morning, doctor.
Good morning to you.
Tabakit here, Dr. Mohammed.
Yes, sir. Welcome.
How you doing?
Great, thank you.
You know, I'll tell you this before I start with my contribution. I would never lose respect for you, which you know. Yeah? People don't know that. And I understand, you know, I is strong with opinions and so on. So sometimes people may hear you, may hit me a little slap and pull me up. I want to tell the people who is listening, don't get in with Dr. Mohammed and Dumoria Sosley. This is 26 years in the making. Yeah? So don't get in at all. Sometimes from time to time, the doctor will hit me a slap and say, Dumoria, pull up. Let's move on, doctor. Dr. Mohammed.
Yes.
In Trinidad. You hear me?
No, you just went blank for a short moment.
All right. You getting me now?
Yes, I am.
Right. With the present climate in Trinidad, in terms of poverty, in terms of the working poor, everything that is happening. Now, I want to be careful how I phrase it because I don't want people to believe that I am pushing a narrative. Would you say it is right, like something what would have happened in 1990? I'm not saying the Jamaat, I'm not advocating violence and anyway anything to disrupt the society. But when you look today where we are, would you say it's worse than 1990 in terms of crime and poverty? You want me to stay on the line if I wanted to add something inside of it before I come off?
Well, look, under our current system, it is constantly getting progressively worse. Of course it's worse. It can only get worse under the system, because whatever is gotten away with the year before is built upon the year after, and then it worsens again in the year to follow. Back in 1990, for the Muslimin coup, the murder rate in the country was less than 100 people for the entire year. And even with all the people who the police killed during the 1990 coup, if you add all of that up and tally them as murders, which is what they were in my opinion, the death rate, the murder rate was still so much lower than it is today. So all of these Western capitalist societies under this corrupt system of so-called parliamentary democracy are perpetually worsening. There's no fluctuation. They're always getting worse and worse and worse.
Here's where I will put the final petal on the cake, so to speak, the final icing. Let me go there. So the dollar that you have in your pocket at present, it worth 25 cents. Secondly, come the 1st of January 2022, in order to have $1 in your pocket, you got to have $2. Tabakit, where you're going? Let me go there. So what would have happened? The dollar would have lost complete value. I'll tell you why. And you said it on many occasions. You have the working poor working just for another salary. Now, I don't know if you got wind of it, because I know you're following everything. It was announced dollars for a...
We just lost you again for a short while there. You have to repeat that last part.
So the container that you were paying, you will now pay $20,000 for that same container. And then lies the point why I said what will happen if they do have a repeat of 19. People, I am not in any way advocating any violence, but when you look at the dollar that you have $1, because your dollar, the value would have gone. I don't know if you want to add 2 cents on that when I come out, but that's the real reality. Tabak it out and all.
Okay, thank you. You see, it's not just or only the poverty itself that causes those kinds of violent, hostile reactions. It's not just by the fact that people are poor. A major source of aggravation for the general public is the inequality. So it's not like everyone is poor together and everyone is collectively doing their best to try to climb out of the poverty with equality of opportunity. No. By the fact that there's a huge gap between the rich and the poor is where the aggravation comes from. But thanks for your contribution. Caller, good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning to you.
Yes, thank you. I mean, on the streets, and everybody knew it was long established who burned down all those buildings in the state. That was a known thing back in the day, that those buildings were burned down, and then these elaborate things went up after. But Mr. Abubakar was on television, and he said, listen, this is the situation, we have taken over, and we are going to hand back, and there's going to be elections, free and fair and free of fair. I can't forget that. So how they're going to say it was an attempted coup? He came on the television and spoke those words. Because I was sitting there looking and saying, what? Free and fair and free of fair. There would be elections. But I want to touch these graves that they found in Canada.
Yeah.
And the molestation by the priest and so on. These things are just going on, and you would hear about it, and it wouldn't even last 9 days, and then they sweep it under the rug. That what went on there in Canada with those children is something that should be accountable, and we should be seeing and hearing day by day, step by step. But nothing. That's just pushed aside there, you know. I would want to touch on Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
This thing is getting that I wonder if people, because as it is, we are being prepared to behave like robots. As it is, because you cannot meet and greet and talk as how the Creator intended. You have to use everything through social media. You have to keep your distance. You have to stay home. You can't come out and all of these things. This is to prepare us for this robot thing that is to come. Because what he's saying now is when you have these devices, it would be just as though you are there. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what a kind of a world that will be? Because we are being prepared now for these hieroglyphics, they call it. Yeah. Anyways, we just have to watch and see what's going on. And we will come out and support today. I would make every effort. I'd be there to see what goodies I can get again. Because
yes,
it's always lovely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing you.
Morning.
Good morning, caller. Yes.
Morning, my brethren.
How are you doing?
Not too bad at all.
Great.
You know, I holding on within the most side. I'm finished fertilize some plants in the yard, yeah. Everything got a little bit of fertilizer. You know how it goes. But first, I want to send out condolences to my Regina Abubakar family.
Yeah.
First time I really sending it out because I know it's not about forcing that. It's about knowing what is right and what is wrong. A brother is a brother, anywhere you go. So I send condolences to her and all the mothers and all the sisters, all my brethren, Denzel, all the brethren. They feel it for the boss. Love stay from every time. Many will come and many will go. Understand? Leaders rise and leaders fall. You gotta stand for. Jalo. So my brother, you know, outside all the time, I just listening in and out. Jalo still, you know, nice to visit you this day a long time.
Yes, sir. Likewise, my brother.
So, you know, every time it's positive. The vibration has to stay positive all the time. Because everything is positive.
Yes, sir.
See on Facebook stepping up higher. Positive again. So, the pandemic ain't going down no neither. Positive again.
Well,
Jack I that.
All right, my brother. Thank you. Well, we've been taken off red list with the UK. Jamaica have removed their restrictions for us too. Things are easing up a bit. Caller, good morning.
Assalamu alaikum, Brother David.
Walaikum salam, rahmatullah wa
David, I hear you
barakatuh.
talking about the Western society and so-called Western society. If people really want to know, when they start, they have to go back in the 1800s when they get rid of the Ottoman Empire, when the Abdul Hamid II, when they started to dismantle the Ottoman Empire. You know, Baron Edmund Rothschild said, in order for them to control the world and to change it, they have to get rid of the Ottoman Empire. But remember, the Ottoman Empire never colonized no country. Although with the Williams and the Libyans into countries.
Yeah, it was one empire.
Was one empire, they need them, you understand me? Edmund Baron Rothschild, and them sung in a pyramid in Egypt, and plan World War I, plan World War II, plan World War III. And dismantle the world, you know, and come with the green ink and paper and say, this will control the world, you know, money, you know. Men of no religion, you know, atheists, you know. Today, them share the world today how it is, you know. That you make a penny, it's them make a penny.
You mean you make one, they make three?
Yeah, they make three. When you make one, you make three. Every bus ticket selling that bus, someone else, them get profit from it. Them bankers and them, that family, them get profit from it. Them share the world of it is today. They had also destroyed the Ottoman Empire to control India. People don't know that. If people want to know how the world shaped it and how it operates today, Go back in the 1800s and watch all the stuff that this man put, the Ottoman Empire, and the stuff that in the family, when they were the fabric and the design and stuff with the children, and change it stumble and it spread. Now you only saw because I shared the word how it is today and today. Yes, you know what Baron said? Yeah, generation to come for the next 300-400 years will rule the world. But if you make a penny, they make 10. Look out and listen.
Thank you.
Not much I can say about that, but don't have time for that.
Yeah.
Money I'll try to call you.
Thank you, my brother. All right. Caller, good morning.
Yeah, hello, morning.
Good morning, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Brother David.
Yes.
Yes, so yeah.
How you doing?
Brother David, one thing I call desperate, I want people to listen BBC and hear the kind of comments the Pope is making right now, right? To the global world public, the Pope is sending technically a kind of threat on, you see, global warming. They make that a big issue and bring the Pope in the forefront, the secret society who run in the earth, the Russians and Germans and them. They bring the Pope in the forefront because they have, let me tell you, they wouldn't put new wine in old bottles, so they're trying to get rid of the old bottle on them. Technically, that was saying it. Even the old system, Brother David, they give China the most sophisticated missile, secret missile with traveling, the missile going straight up and it's surfacing the earth and then falling at the target. They go bomb up America and it's New York they're targeting just to be able to bring, you see, people standing up for freedom of democracy, right? You know, with this democracy system, we have rights. We could oppose the system, but they're trying to get rid of the system and bring the Chinese to do the dirty work in the world, Brother David, and that is very soon. It's years of talking about these things, and it's on we right now are begging the people to listen to BBC. Right now they're running it red lights. All they're talking about climate change, and people understand this COVID vaccine is really about that. You know what I'm saying? The one you see, they almost have 3 million people target. They want to get at least 3.5 million people out the face of the earth, Brother David, and Satan is who behind that, right? It has nothing to do with no global warming and planet change. If the people live righteous in the earth, the Almighty God will save this earth. Everybody going to the ancient Babylonian custom, right, which is lesbianism and homosexuality. That is a culture across the board in all the ghetto society. But I even watch YouTube, you will see even in Africa, right, they're showing you pictures with women, right, going mad behind this kind of thing, women going all in the bush, little girls, you know what I'm saying, and man keeping them, and you know, more than one video I think like that.
Well, so Jans,
I listen.
Let me say this to you. I mean, you brought it up. But so Imam Yassin Abu Bakr passed away.
That was my good friend.
Two days after his 80th birthday, which would have been the 20th of October, right? 10 days ago.
Part of the plan, Brother David.
Now, obviously, someone who changed Trinidad in so many ways. But a couple days ago, somebody who apparently was a local person, Trinidadian, key figure in the LGBTQ community, the gay and lesbian community. And there's one radio station in this country. I mean, when Abu Bakr died, they spoke about bloody coup. That was almost a bloodless coup. There was hardly any blood spilled in that coup. But, you know, they talk about attempted coup and all of that. But you should have heard the glowing tributes coming out of radio stations in this country. The glowing tributes for the LGBTQ person who passed away, more so than Imam Yassin Abu Bakr. And I wasn't surprised, but the timing of it was just so odd. And this is something, these are views and opinions that are encroaching on our own views and opinions traditionally within society. And if you think today the way that you would have thought, say, 30 years ago, then you could lose your job, you could be banned, you could be fined, you could be called hate, you could be charged for hate crimes. I have to talk about Dave Chappelle's recent special, because Dave Chappelle has been attacked non-stop by the LGBTQ community.
Well,
and sorry, go ahead. The countdown is on, by the way.
Brother David, I want to say something quick. Brother David, let me tell you something else. They have a secret society global agenda that's ruling the earth. It's no longer democracy ruling the earth in America, you know. They only have a little kind of, is one or two people in Congress we might have a Christian view about life.
Yeah.
Still a little God view. They fight. That's why I say it have like two walls in America, and the wall way holding up democracy is leaning, because technically what happened all over the world, right across the board, people go on LGBT.
Yep, that's exactly as it is. But so I mean, of course, everyone has their rights, and we respect everyone's human rights and civil rights. But you know, we cannot support a global mission to force you into changing your views and opinions about something. Anyway, all roads today lead to the Kwame Ture Center for African Expo number 9. There'll be food, there'll be African clothes, there'll be technology, there'll be books, literature, art, ornaments, there'll be personal care products, cosmetics, toiletries, a whole lot of stuff. So, hope to see you there. Stay tuned to the Street 919 FM. May Almighty God Allah continue to bless you as I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum.